Good morning, Trump's family. Have a good day and God bless you. Thank you for always watching and subscribing to the channel. Every channel subscribe is my motivation to work harder. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the news this morning. And have you stopped watching Fox News yet? Because if you haven't, what are you waiting for? These people continue to bring on more and more dungeon degenerates onto the programming hat. They brought Bruce Jenner in, or whatever he calls himself these days, in to talk about trans issues, and now they're bringing drag queens on to talk to you about drag queen. Tell drag queens are upset that they're bringing kids to the drag queen friendly, family friendly shows, right? These people are absolutely dishonest people. They are part of the system. They are controlled opposition, where they continue to shift the Overton window to the left, and you continue to allow it by watching their programming. And this is Jesse Watters, who's someone I really did enjoy at one point, bringing on drag queens onto his show to talk about drag queens are upset about kids coming to their shows. Yeah, I upset that kids are being brought to their shows as well. And I don't think there should be a drag queen show. It's that. How about that? How about we just take a moral stand on some of these topics, but people are too afraid to, because they don't want to be caught in this or fob or whatever. Actually lead with your conviction. So let's get to take a look at this article, which is written in a very good light. And I like Read Voice Media. I really enjoy some of the articles that they cover, but I think they just get this one wrong, along with Fox News as well. You can talk about the dangers of bringing kids to drag shows and subjecting them to that type of sexuality that's being put on display for them without having to bring on drag queens. See, that's the problem. You continue to shift the Overton window to the left. And your boomer viewers continue to think, oh yeah, there's some great drag queens. It's women face, that is what they're doing. Men putting on a woman face is just like putting blackface on, absolutely the same thing. Let's look at this article real quick. Drag queens. Shreds parents who bring kids to so-called family-friendly drag shows on Jesse Watters. We're not getting watch the video, by the way. I'm just wanting to present this headline, this article to you guys. Drag queen shreds parents. I don't even like the way that headline is written about that, about drag queen trending parents. These are guys, grown men who are dressing like women. There's something mentally wrong with a lot of these people who continue to parade around in women's clothing, and Fox News decides to go ahead and bring them on, and to talk about the issues of drag queens, and drag queen story are the underneath line here says, and I'm just think big pharma corporations that are pushing it out, and honestly, I just think it's to make more money for big pharma. Yeah, whatever. No, here's Jesse Watters. He's here with the drag queen who is all decked out in their garb, because they want to continue to portray their woman face. Women face right says, I've asked parents what is the lesson to be learned to see a man dressed up wearing a wig and being sexual in front of their child. We used to arrest men like that, says Kitty. Do your mirror. Well, if you want to ask my opinion, I don't think there should be any drag queen shows at all. It says I think there has something to do with using dragons as a transition or gateway to trans kids to make them think it's fun, pretty magical, fantastical, and as distinct as big pharma corporations are pushing it. Well, I think Fox News is pushing drag queens in your face too. By bringing not all drag queens are bad. Oh, look at these drag queens. This drag queen's okay. Looks Lady MAGA. It's Lady Makeover Baby. Some dude trust like woman. Check it out. So conservative. That was not so conservative at all. It's nothing like conservatism. This is what we continue to, or the corporate conservative, if you will, wants to continue to have that big tent. Let's bring in the Lady MAGA crossdressers. Let's bring those guys in. Let's bring in the Dave Rubins who are appropriating women's wombs to have children with. Let's continue to bring all these people into our big tent, and we're going to be conservative. What are we conserving? We aren't preserving check crap. We're becoming more left. That's what we're becoming as we continue to be combed this big tent. No, absolutely wrong. Fox News is horrible. And the only person I truly do like on Fox News, Tucker, and only watch Fox News to catch his takes. I find them on clips. I don't have the time to deal with that Fox News anymore. Hopefully you guys have seen the light. If you haven't, if you're still watching, hey man, whatever, but just know where they're pushing to the left, and you're continuing to let it buy in. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Okay folks, then some significant news. It's happening. The deal of the century. Elon Musk's buyout of Twitter is being completed as we speak. And it's not just Elon Musk free speech, Patriots are taking over the whole of social media like never before. Make no mistake. Everything changes now, and you're about to find out why the world will never be the same. It's been widely reported that after months of stonewalling and resistance against Musk's hostile takeover offer back in March, the woke leftists in charge of Twitter are indeed officially surrendering the world's most popular social media messaging platform. Bloomberg is reporting that Twitter has taken action to free share trading for its employees in anticipation of closing the deal with Musk once and for all. It is a clear sign that last hurdle is being conquered as we speak, and that Twitter staff will not be able to access or trade shares at the company until the deal is complete, which should be any time now. Musk did not waste time in gloating over the deal. He tweeted this out the other day. It's a great picture of him and President Trump. Of course, launched True Social in Ye, the new name for Kanye West, who's in the process of purchasing Parler, and then with the inscription above, in retrospect, it was inevitable. He's since deleted the tweet, no doubt due to the risk-adverse advice of his lawyers, but it clearly signals that Musk knows this deal is done. He will own Twitter. And as a result, the single most popular instant messaging platform on the planet will now belong to an anti-woke Republican supporting free speech champion. Now the significance of this acquisition is astronomical. In fact, it would be hard to exaggerate the political ramifications of what's happening right before our very eyes. Tucker Carlson weighed in on precisely that. Elon Musk purchasing Twitter is more than just a potential. It is a true existential threat to the hegemony of the people currently in charge. Allowing freedom of speech means the possibility of a revolution from below against the forces destroying this country in the West. So everything writes on this. They know it, you may not. But they do. Yeah, I think Tucker is channeling his inner Jordan Peterson there, right? Remember, Peterson has long argued that there's essentially no difference between speech and thought. If we're going to be free to think, we must be free to speak, precisely because so much of our thought is organized verbally. And this is so profound, because it's not merely the notion that what we think is expressed in words. Peterson argues that so much of what we think is, in terms of words, words constitute our thoughts. We ask ourselves questions all the time. And we do so to actually get answers from our own conscience. And so if that's true, what will cancel culture's actually been trying to do in the relentless stifling of our free speech is they're actually trying to stifle our free thought. If we're going to be free thinkers, we must be free to speak. And as we speak, that freedom is being restored in ways that are in many respects unimaginable. I mean, think about it. Twitter, the single largest speech platform in the planet, can no longer be used as an instrument of woke cancelled culture, but it gets even better. It's not just Twitter. Twitter, in many respects, is just the beginning. Free speech patriots are indeed taking over the whole of social media like never before, and gang, if you can believe it. This is just a small part of what patriots are doing to fight back and defend the culture of faith, family and freedom that we all love. Here's one of my favorite Twitter feeds from Cap Turd, who sees what's really happening with all this. Dear liberals, hope you enjoy 2023. Meet your new owners. Twitter. Elon Musk, True Social, President Trump, Parler, Kanye West. I can't stop laughing and we can't stop either. Cat Turd caught it. He sees what's really happening here. It's not just a matter of the people rising up and taking over one of the most important social media messaging platforms on the planet. It's the fact that the people are now beginning to take over social media itself. You see, with President Trump's True Social, Kanye West taking over Parler, we're seeing a growing number of what are called civic entrepreneurs who are together building nothing less than a whole new society, what's often referred to as a parallel economy, or a parallel polis. And it's not just happening here in the States, it's important to realize it's happening all over the world. Patriot entrepreneurs around the world are currently investing in and financing numerous projects that seek to provide alternatives to the world corporations that are acting in tandem with woke governments to suppress free speech and patriotic sentiments of faith, family and freedom, calling them bigoted, and the like. Scholars are calling the builders of this world frontier innovators. The frontier is simply the innovation centers in entrepreneurial activity located outside Silicon Valley, and its counterparts in LA and New York and London and the like. So this is an alternative economy that's rising up that includes companies in Kenya, as well as Kansas, Uganda, as well as Utah, India, as well as Indiana. And so we're seeing the rising of nothing less than a parallel patriot society at all levels. And now, we're beginning to see the fruits of those efforts. Because now we're beginning to see that parallel economy with its commitment to cancel and cancel culture. We're beginning to see that rising anti-woke world take over the woke one. That, to me, is what's so significant about what's happening here with Elon Musk. It's not just about the rise of the parallel economy. It's about the rise of a parallel economy that's beginning to take over the woke world. And if the woke world begins losing its institutional leverage, like it had with owning Twitter, if the woke world loses its institutional leverage to inflict cancel culture on those guilty of wrong think, then what's the inevitable result of that? I think the biggest, most long-lasting takeaway in all of this is that we're seeing nothing less than the beginning of the end of woke cancel culture itself. Welcome, folks. We're going to talk about some breaking news. We have President Trump not holding back. And in a similar fashion, we have Lieutenant General Michael Flynn not holding back either. They're talking about two different things, but two very, very vital things. I've got some reporting on some nasty women. Of course, you can guess that they're all Democrats. And then we're going to see what Steve Bannon to real crime is, as well as other news. Let's get into this now that we've done some housekeeping. Let's start off with this poll. Okay, and why? If everything is on the up and up, we are going to have a red tsunami/red wave in 20 days from right now, I guess, then 3 weeks from right now, when we get the results. You know, it used to be that we would get the same day results. It's still the case of most countries that are even third world countries or developed countries, that they get the results the same day, but because the Democrats and how they operate and for obvious reasons, they'd like there no longer to be election or midterm election day, but days, weeks or what have you. But I'm hoping that 3 weeks from today, we will have the results. And it should be a red wave, a tsunami in the House of Representatives, kind of stave off some even more disastrous policies coming from the Democrats. But here's what it is. 93% of registered voters are concerned about soaring inflation and the poor economy. That's the biggest topic 20 days out from the midterm elections. This comes from Politico and a Morning Consult poll. They found right. So once again, we're not talking about Fox News. This is Political. And their Morning Consult poll found 93% say they're very concerned or somewhat concerned about inflation brought on by Democrats' massive spending in the war on American energy. They can't blame that at all on Trump, President Trump. The inflation was ridiculously low. We've seen monthly inflation under this regime that equaled the annual inflation that we had under Trump. Biden is completely responsible for this. And the policies of the regime. They really can't pass this on off, though they sometimes try. So inflation in the economy are the top two issues for voters. Okay. And this has been echoed over and over and over again. Now, there was a New York Times poll. Okay. And that said that the Democrats are losing and they're having big trouble going into the midterms. Alright. So Nancy Pelosi was on MSNBC with Andrea Mitchell. And this is story number 1 of 3 stories I have about nasty women. Okay, here's our 2 nasty women speaking. First of all, I want you to hear the introduction. The Andrew Mitchell has before she even asked her questions of Nancy Pelosi. If you're not familiar with what a brown nose and a kiss ass is, I'm gonna give you an example right now. Pardon my French, that's exactly what we're hearing and seeing here between Andrew Mitchell and Nancy Pelosi. Topics: the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. But the Madam Speaker, thank you very much for coming. My pleasure. Here are the topics: the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. But the Madam Speaker, thank you very much for coming. My pleasure to be here. So let's talk about rising inflation concerns along with crime, giving new momentum to Republicans after the Democrats were closing the gap. The historic gap. Yes. So after the Supreme Court ruling, there was huge outrage that has seemed to subside, at least. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Open Source News. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and turn on the